The amount of money here in China is ridiculous. I think some people can't comprehend how much money there is to go around. One of them wearing a Richard Mille, another wearing APs, another one with a platinum Daytona. They'll wear a $500,000 watch, or they'll live in $20 million penthouses here in the city. They sell 10 million units a year. That's over 500 million US dollars in sales per year, and you don't even know what their brand is. Before we get to sourcing anything, I'm gonna eat first. It's almost 1 p.m. now and I'm starving. The food court for the Canton Fair is on the -1 level. So it's underground, it's between pavilions. If you go onto level 1, you should be able to find signage that points you towards where to find food. And you can just go downstairs and find food. It smells quite good. There's a lot of modern brands down here too. You can still get your KFCs. There's literally a Starbucks over there. There's a whole little festival area down here today. You can buy all sorts of local delicacies, but we're gonna go find some food because I'm starving, and then get a drink and then start to explore for today. So you can see here's a little food court, foods and beverages, Starbucks. Most of the meals here are already pre-packed, so you can get all sorts of different things. What's that? You got spicy hot pot. So yeah, proper food court with Chinese, and there will be Western food as well. But everything is usually already arranged in their meal sets, A, B, C, D, E, for no matter what restaurant you go to. So all you need to do is, if you don't know Chinese, you're a little confused on what to order, look at the giant signs. They've made it super easy, and just walk up to the counter and tell them what set you want. They all understand A, B, C, D, E, so yeah, tell them what set you want to eat. You can see everything is in sets already. And then all it is once you order your food, it's a fight to get a table. Alrighty, I'm gonna order. Wow, this one's busy. Clay pot rice. Damn, that looks good. That looks good, but it's busy. Can't be bothered waiting. Let's find something that's easier to order from. So I've just ordered off WeChat, and you can just pick up immediately over at the counter. Just bring them your ticket. You can see all the Chinese efficiency is that they have all the meals prepared in the back already. 谢谢. 好，谢谢. All right, food is acquired. Now it's time to just find a seat. So you get a Coke. You get a Chinese hamburger, which is a roll jamwo, which is technically translated to meat stuck in bread. Crazy thing, I just walked past 3 guys that are fully ballers. One of them wearing a Richard Mille, another wearing APs, another one with a platinum Daytona. Are they real? Who knows? But they're all wearing staff badges and sourcing badges. And what you would assume from that is that a lot of people here are quite rich. It's just like last year, I went to a factory booth, and the owner was there, and the owner was wearing a Patek Philippe Aquanaut on one hand, and then on the other hand, he was wearing an RM, and then he also had his Ferrari key on the table too. The amount of money here in China is ridiculous. I think some people can't comprehend how much money there is to go around. If you think about it, some of the factories I visited yesterday, they sell 10 million units a year. Retail, this is their brand, not their OEM. You can essentially reverse engineer that. They're selling for about $50 US per unit. At 10 million units, you do the maths. That's over 500 million US dollars in sales per year, and you don't even know what their brand is. Money is crazy, guys, and you don't need a super viral or popular brand or something to flex. You just need to make cash. Anyway, this meal was 50 RMB. Not bad. More on the pricey side. But for a drink, this is the side that you get. It's a little hamburger. Let's try it. So I've had this in Xi'an. Hey, this is pretty lit. So it's shredded pork inside of a crispy bun. This is pretty lit, not gonna lie. That's 50 RMB. Sorted for lunch, you get a bowl of noodles, a Coke, mini Coke, and your meat hamburger, which costs about, all up, about 12 Australian dollars or so. Not bad, that's Aussie prices for sure. You can definitely get meals for cheaper, but you're at the Canton Fair, so what do you expect? There are a lot of very rich factory owners here. You'll never suspect that. They look like unks, overweight, balding Chinese men, but on their wrist they'll wear a $500,000 watch, or they'll live in $20 million penthouses here in the city, or they'll just own multiple properties all around the world. Pretty crazy. There will be a lot of rich people at these expos, a lot. You'll either end up working with them, buying from them, or helping them. Anyway, I'm gonna finish lunch and back onto the floor we go. Look how busy it gets in here. Just after lunchtime, packed full of people. Okay, since this phase is not super relevant to me, and I'm only here essentially looking for gift items that we can do for our gift with purchases for our customers, I might as well talk about how I would go about and the logic for sourcing behind the shows. That way, when you come to a show like this yourself, you'll be able to understand what exactly you're looking for. There are two things that you have to consider every single time you come into an expo like this as well, is that not only are you sourcing, but at the same time, the suppliers here are also sussing you out, whether you are a waste of time or not. So whenever you come to an expo like this, and there's literally thousands of vendors around, they also want to consider whether or not you are a viable business partner for them. Not everyone wants to supply to a small-time player. Not everyone wants to deal with someone who is going to give them headaches. When you're in a service-based industry or a supply-based industry, we all know that the smallest customers are the ones that bring the biggest headaches. And that is the same thing here. Even though the Chinese often are quite flexy, and they're quite okay with helping you get started, the way they kind of see it is, the psychology behind it is, if they kind of see you as someone that they can invest into, then they will try their best to help you. And that all comes down to relationship building and relationship management. Give you an example. When I was here yesterday and filming and creating content, I was also doing factory visits. I went out of my way to go and visit a supplier that I want to work with. These guys are a top 1 supplier here in the category that I want to experiment in. This is an industry, a niche that I've never wandered into, and it's a niche that I'm planning to explore. Much like a lot of people who are getting started in e-commerce, you're just looking to explore. You're just looking to get started. You're just looking to dip your toes into something. And when you do that, you don't want to start with a gigantic MOQ that will pain you a lot. So what do you need to do? You need to negotiate. But when you come to expos like this, your minimum expectations for MOQ usually are about 1,000 units, especially for smaller units or smaller products. So you're always going to expect about 1,000 MOQ. Most of the time, it's actually around 2,000 to 3,000 because most really small sized businesses won't come to expos like this because they can't afford it. So what I did yesterday was I literally spent time. It was a massive time investment. One, I'm in China. Two, I spent over 3.5 hours traveling yesterday to go and visit them on their home ground out of my expense to show them how serious I am about doing business with them and the project that I want to take on. They respected that. We shared tea in the boss's office and they took me out to dinner as well. But business in China is done through conversation and relationship building. It's not done like in the West where it's like, send me your invoice, give me the best price, what are your payment terms? In China, the first step is to build the relationship with your manufacturer. In fact, when we spoke about business, only 10% of the conversation was business. 90% of the conversation was not about business. It was about our families. It was about our dreams. It was about our ambitions. It was about our shared struggles as business owners. It was about the environment, the climate, the financial, economic climate outside of China. It was about the wars that are going on. It was about the future. It was about our dreams and our goals and our targets and what we did well and what we didn't do well last year. Majority of our conversation was kind of like talking shit with friends. It was just banter. And because of that, it allowed me to then open up the idea. And guess what I did? I reduced my MOQ from 2,000 down to 50 for a trial order. And that is the power of negotiation. And also a little bit of empathy and understanding. Because I understand how the supply chain works, because I understand how manufacturing works, and also assembly, it allowed me to then take on a position where I'm able to understand them and what drives their business, as well as where I could potentially get what I want without necessarily interrupting or ruining their margin, whilst giving me a low risk chance to test in a new market that I've never tested before. See how critical that is? I went from 2,000 down to 1,000, down to 50, but obviously there's a little bit of extra things that I need to do to achieve this 50. But if you were to think about it, if you were to just have a normal conversation online, 2,000 MOQ at $15 a unit, you're talking a minimum of $30,000 US primary investment for your first batch of order, which is about almost 50,000 Australian dollars. A bit less actually nowadays, about 40, 45. But think about that as a business owner, especially a new one, right? Think about it if you're a new business owner or if you're someone that's trying to experiment into a new market that you're not super confident in, and it's merely just a risk / a gamble to see if you can actually build something out of nothing. So that is something that is very, very important to understand. Everything is relationship based. So now how does that relate to back here? This is cool. This is a modular house. So how does that relate to back here now that we're back on the exhibition floor? Is when you walk into these booths, do not expect to get the best rate. Do not expect to get the best MOQs. Spend a little time and a little bit of energy to understand the cultural tradition of China. I'm lucky I'm Chinese, but this is your hot tip, is if you're actually watching these videos and trying to get value out of these videos, the playbook is genuinely try and learn Chinese values, traditions, and business. And also on top of that, if you learn a little bit of Chinese, they love that. They love it when you try. So the goal here is when you're at the exhibition is, one, prove your buying power or communicate to them what your experience is, and then ask them questions that show them that you're not here to waste their time. When you're here, then one of the biggest problems that these vendors go through is time wasters. A lot of people here are obvious time wasters. So you don't want to be that person that's going to come in here and also waste their time. You want to show them that you're genuinely serious about sourcing and you're not here to essentially scam them out of a cheap or discounted sample, which they're super scared of as well. One of my suppliers, one of my factories that I've been working with now for almost 2 years, was telling me in the car yesterday that a lot of the times when you come to an exhibition like this, there are certain types of people, I'm not going to mention what type, but there are types of people who will come in and they'll be like, yep, I'm good to go, I'm cashed up, I want to order 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 containers. Now, in some circumstances, this is true. I have physically seen it myself before, but most of the times they'll do that in order to try to squeeze a bottom price out of you. And so a lot of suppliers here are very cautious. They're very worried because a lot of people will come in pretending that they have a lot of consumer power or they have a lot of buyer power, but the reality is they don't. And then they'll negotiate, they'll send contracts, they'll do all their due diligence, they'll prepare all of the inventory, the stock for you, they'll prepare pricing, invoices, etc. And then people will never pay up. And it happens all the time. And largely with certain types of demographic. However, you need to show, especially if you're watching this and you're American or you're Australian, you actually have a lot more pull than you think you do. You have a lot more authority and credibility. You're a lot more trusted. And so those are the sort of considerations that you have when you're coming to the expo and you're communicating. You have to make that very clear. You have to make it clear that you are actually here to do business. And you're not here to fuck them around. You're not here to rip them off. Remember, a long life in business is a two-way street. You genuinely have to be able to support each other. Your supply chain must be strong, you must be strong, and it is a partnership. It is not a transactional parasitic relationship where all you're trying to do is push a supplier down to the bottom dollar and you're trying to make as much margin as possible. In fact, 90% of the time, the cheapest supplier or the cheapest product is going to be the end of your business. So trying to chase the bottom dollar is not your goal here. You're trying to chase suppliers with proper capability, proper ability, proper R&D, SOPs, systems, processes. Nothing is more valuable than that. I'm telling you that right now. Cheap is not better because they still need to make a margin. And if you're trying to rob the margin out of them, you're going to have a bad time. Not them, you are going to have a bad time. So yeah, it's a two-way street, guys. You got to make sure you give a little before you take two. So when you come into a booth, one, have a look around, see how good their customer service is. Most of the time, these are temp workers or these are staff that they've pulled from multiple different departments. You want to be able to find products that relate to you and then show that you have an understanding of this product. Do your research, have some curiosity, but also do your research. And when you communicate with them, show that you have an ability to understand them, you're curious, and you're excited about their quality and their product too. When you demonstrate that you have some sort of a product knowledge, they'll respect you a lot more and the conversation becomes a lot better. If you have the ability to hire a translator, hire a translator. Breaking that language barrier is not only a sign of respect, but also makes your business day a lot easier. It might cost you $200, $300 a day, but if you have a translator with you full day, then your job becomes a lot easier and there's less stress and less miscommunications as you go through. If you can bring a sourcing agent with you, if you can bring someone that has experience with you, even better, because they know what you're looking for and you know how to communicate with them. That's also critical when it comes down to negotiation. Now let's take a look. Imagine coming here and you're sourcing stone for your walls. You're sourcing stone for tabletops, for walls. It's beautiful. I'm telling you, these factories are billion-dollar factories over here. They have such strong supply chain capability, manufacturing, R&D. They probably own their own mines. They own their own machinery. They have warehouses the sizes of suburbs. That's no bullshit. They can literally be the size of a suburb. And you can see like the quality of their finishing. Phenomenal. So booths like these These are serious operators. These are factories pulling in billions of dollars of revenue every single year. Your little introductory order of $10, $20, $30,000 is not a lot. These guys are dealing with large companies all around the world, importing tens of thousands every single week, if not hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. So it's critically important that you demonstrate how serious you are. A lot of the Chinese factory owners and managers are very willing to support small business if they see the operator is someone that they trust and they like. That's China for you. They're very happy to support you where possible. They'll even make sacrifices or lose some money to get your business if and only if they see potential in you. So as much as you want to come and get the best supply chain, they also want to get the best sales, marketing, or brand partner that they can get out of you as well, because all of the Chinese factories here want to build international markets and international dominance as well. In China, there is a term called juan, which is, direct translation is rotating, circular, spinning. What it actually means is it's like a chaos. It's like a washing machine. When you look at a washing machine, it swirls the water around, and that's exactly what it looks like in China. A lot of the suppliers here are constantly crushing each other on pricing. They're crushing each other all the way to no margin left between each and every single person. So they know that the only way for them to win is to sell internationally, and that's why they want to work with you. So once again, if you cannot prove that you're a serious operator and you're not just here to mess around and fuck them around looking for the bottom price, they will usually be quite serious in terms of supporting you. You see, like, these new materials are fantastic. It's like a stone coating. You can curve it into any shape that you want. Flexible soft stone. So I actually use a lot of these materials in my own office, and it's fantastic. These new materials coming out of China are phenomenal. I actually use all of these materials in my new office build that I built for myself. So sometimes you don't even need to come here to source for large-scale purposes. Sometimes they will even supply to you if it's for your own home build. You might need 100 square meters for your house, and rather than paying 200 a square meter in Australia, you might only pay 50 or 60 bucks a square meter here. There are many, many reasons for why you want to come and get supply in China, and why you want to come and establish a supply chain. I know definitely when I'm going to build my own house that I'll be here sourcing materials for my own property. That's going to be critically important for me, because I know that I can get premium quality, chuck it into a container, bring it all over to Australia, and do it for a quarter, if not a third, of the price of what I'll do back at home. There are also some very cool business opportunities now in China, where not only can you go and source your supplies, they can also do the architecture component of your property, as well as the construction component. Hear me out. So what you can do is, imagine this: you can have your floor plan, send your floor plan over to the Chinese factories. They will render everything for you, from cabinetry to finish, to walls, to floors, to tabletops, to full build, right? Even lighting or whatever. You can then pay a premium to ship over 2, 3, 4 builders from them, okay? You can house them in your own house or in a hotel, and they will come to your place, and within a week, they'll do all the cabinetry, they'll do all the tables, they'll do all the surfacing, the walls, and have it all done, and you can ship them back home. So not only do you now save on materials, you save on design, because sometimes the design is free. Honestly, most of the time, the design and also the rendering of your build is going to be free. And then off the back of that, you then go on and bring their staff over on Chinese salary to build the property. In fact, they do that for free too. You just need to pay for the staff, figure out their visa situation, and sometimes they already have that sorted too. And you give them accommodation, and they will build your cabinets for you. Like, it's insane. So you're saving thousands and thousands of dollars, and you're getting premium workmanship and everything is custom built for your property already as it is. China is releasing a lot of these new technologies for materials. You can see concrete bricks, stone bricks, but lightweight enough for you to just grab. Look at this. I'm holding this whole thing with my hand, and it looks like real stone in a lot of different lightings and a lot of different angles and finishes. All of this sort of stuff would be great, for example, for your outdoor area by the pool. You don't want to use real stone. Obviously, if you want to go mega uber premium, still go for real stone. But if you're saving costs just to make something look pretty for Airbnb, for rentals, you can go with materials like that, and now you have a beautiful outdoor area. For example, like this. This is just literally going to be all gyprock, and then they just stick this on top. Or gyprock and then stuck on top. Or even not even gyprock, just framing and insulation. So crazy simple. You can do entire walls, you can do entire floors, everything. And nowadays, because safety is so important as well as compliance, a lot of these things are going to be dust-free, silica-free, and all of those cancer-causing like dust particle things that's been crazily looked down upon in the West. Those have all been gotten rid of. So it's incredible to see what you can find here, and the opportunities are endless, provided you are serious, and also at the same time, you have the purchasing power to get what you want. But you have to be very clear. No one wants to waste time. You don't want to waste time, they don't want to waste time. That's one of the key things to remember as you're out here doing your sourcing. And if you need a hand, just shoot me a message or drop a comment down below.